guys, coming at you today with technically an arc review. It's a little bit wishy-washy on that topic, I think, but I will explain why. So today I am reviewing the arc of Roshani Chakshi's new adult title, Once More Upon a Time. Now, this is an arc which I got from the publisher via Edelweiss for my free unbiased review, so thank you to them. It's a little bit weird to call it an arc because Once More Upon a Time is already kind of out there in the world. This is an arc of the print version of this title. This title was previously released as an Audible original, also meaning Audible exclusive, and I've not listened to that. I think that's important to state up front. I really tried to give Amazon as little of my money as possible. So unfortunately, even though I love audiobooks and I love Roshani Chakshi, I had not been able to access this title previously. This is a print version of the story, and I think that's going to come into play a little bit more later on. But what even is this story, you may ask? So Once More Upon a Time is the story of Imelda and Ambrose. And there is a brief prologue where you come to understand that Imelda and Ambrose were once in love. But on the night, or a day and a night really, after their wedding, Imelda ate some poisoned food and she almost died. And there was a witch there and she said, I can save Imelda, but there is a cost. And the cost is the love that the two of you share. So Ambrose said, yes, please save her, because he loved her, because they loved each other. And then once Imelda woke up, neither of them could remember why they had ever loved each other. This gets more awkward because Imelda and Ambrose have been gifted by Imelda's father the king and queen ship of a kingdom called Love's Keep. And at Love's Keep, the only requirement for their king and queen is that they must be deeply in love or they have to leave after a year. And with them not being in love anymore, our story really starts at that year mark after they have been queen and king for a year, and now they are being told they have to leave because there's no love between them. This is not a novel, this is a novella, and that, for me, you may know, is kind of a touch and go genre. But what I love about this book is that for a novella, it is so rich in detail, and I read this kind of fast. I really recommend if you do read this to really take it slow, because if you are a lover of fairy tales, there is so much rich detail in here. For example, Imelda is one of the 12 dancing princesses, and Chakshi has created this amazing backstory, this kind of frightening, a little bit dark backstory to the 12 dancing princesses and what was really going on with their shoes and why they were really going out and dancing, and it plays really strongly into Imelda's character. So that's at once like a rich fairy tale brought into the story, changed up a little bit, and then used to kind of subvert the rest of the story. And there are other smaller details and other fairy tales constantly being brought into the story and changed in really interesting ways. And if you're not paying attention, like sometimes I was kind of, I need to know what happens. If you go a little bit too fast, you might miss the fact that a fairy tale or a folk tale is being referenced. So for a novella, it is incredible how much richness is really in this story. And as someone who grew up on fairy tales, particularly, honestly, the Brothers Grimm, I'm very German, so that was my start. But I also went to a Waldorf school, and again, that's very folktale oriented. So as someone who has read a lot of these, there is just so much in here for me to love and go, oh, I see the little detail. There's kind of a point to the fact that you never saw Imelda and Ambrose when they were in love, because the point of this is, after this year and a day, the witch comes back and she says, well, actually, I will save you from having to go into exile if you do this thing for me. And maybe even you can re-find your love. And they're like, well, we can't re-find our love because you took it from us. And the witch says, I took it, but love isn't a thing that can forever be taken. Love can regrow in the place from which it's plucked. So that's not a quote. I'm just kind of like making my own flowery language here. And that was really cool. But I do wish that the story had been longer. I really felt like as a novella, because you're trying to say these people have to fall back in love, which to me seems like a more difficult process than falling into love the first time. I really wanted more to that wasn't there. So this is always my issue with novellas though. If I like it, I want there to be more, but because it's a novella, there won't be more. I also, knowing that this had previously been an audiobook, there's a really, really strong narrative voice here. And I really did, again, would I not have felt this knowing there was an audiobook out there? I don't know. But the narrator's voice of this is so strong. You can absolutely see how it was written to be an audiobook originally. And I did kind of start to feel like I wished there was a narrator, someone doing this in a very dramatic, acted way. I just get the sense from it that this is an incredible audiobook that I cannot access. And I don't often like my fiction on audio, but Roshani Chokshi is a lyrical, magical writer. She can just put words together in a way that it is really more at points poetry than prose. And I really just did want to hear it. It felt like a fairy tale, very much in the oral tradition of fairy tales, and I was reading it. So, I mean, it doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make the book a bad thing, but I was definitely like, I wish someone was telling me this story, which is why it was an audiobook first. So all in all, I feel like my criticisms of this are things that we're never going to change because they are what they are, i.e. this was written as an audiobook first, turned into a print book. It is what it is. This is not a novel, it's a novella, and by that necessity, the character building that I wish was there naturally has to go a little bit faster. This book is so rich though. I could easily see this being a novel. I could see there being connected novels in a series. So I do hope that Roshani Chokshi revisits this. I think it's a very rich alternative fairyland that she's created and I would love to see more of. But it is what it is. So as long as you go into it understanding that there's a strong narrative voice, but it's on the page, and that it is a novella and not a novel, I think that you will love it. It is the perfect adult fairy tale, I feel. And honestly, it's clean. There's just like a, kind of bit which I think makes it adult. And also they're discussing adult themes of love and trust and relationships. I mean, I feel like anyone could read it and enjoy it. There's no graphic content, so I highly recommend that you pick it up. It just would not be the first Roshani Chokshi book that I give to someone if I were to recommend them starting with her work because it is so short. That would definitely be a Star Touched Queen. So if you like the idea of this, pick it up. If you haven't already read a Star Touched Queen, go read that. And then, I don't know, pick up literally anything she's ever written after that. So thanks so much for listening to this very convoluted review. If you have listened to the audiobook, again, I don't hold it against you. I just don't. So please let me know what it's like down in the comments because I would love to know. And I'll hopefully see you guys next time. Bye.